Hi everyone, this is Annie from Storyboard That, and if you're just joining us, I'm here with Kate and Joe, who will be answering questions in the chat. And for today, it's our first ever webinar series. We are going to take a quick overview of Storyboard That and kind of an overview of digital storytelling and the storyboard creator and best practices. And if you stay until the end of this webinar, because it's our first ever one and I might be really awkward during it, you will get a special discount at the end. So to start out, I'm just going to go over what a storyboard is. So Storyboard That, again, is what it sounds like. It creates storyboards. So what is a storyboard? Storyboards are graphic organizers that plan narratives. They're really great for visual representation of hard-to-digest concepts. By sequencing the passage of time in a mapped out and linear way, teachers and students have used storyboards to really focus on one cell or idea or scene and how it fits into the bigger picture overall. So who we are, we were actually created because our CEO can't draw. And what I mean by that is he was working for a corporation and found it difficult to communicate and collaborate different ideas, and wanted to create something that would specifically address those issues in a business setting. So this was created for the 4 C's that you see here: communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. And we found that it obviously lended very well into the education sphere, as they're also the 21st century learning skills. As a quick side note, there are many of us here, about half or more, that have also come from education backgrounds, so that's pretty cool. So what we do at a high level, it's just a bird's eye view. So we provide an easy way for students to improve on these 3 quantifiable levels. So with understanding, we give them this visual and interactive tool that allows students to understand these high-level concepts and have overall language comprehension. As far as organization, the tool itself lends itself to being a thought organizer. It's very easy to use and it's very adaptable, and I'll go over the creator itself so you can see how easy to use it is. And finally, with presentation, there are many different ways that students can share and collaborate and communicate their thoughts that they've created in the storyboard, that creator, since the platform leads itself right on to presenting in many different ways. So again, another high-level bird's eye view of why it matters. So it's in a world of pedagogy that's always evolving, we have strived to be something that is multidisciplinary in nature and is also something that you can use anywhere at any time. So we're web-based, which means that you can use us on anything from Chromebooks to iPads. And so with this, we allow for student agency, so students are able to create and produce their own content, which really helps moving them from a mere consumption of information where they just hear something and regurgitate it towards actually creating something and having their understanding be displayed in that manner. As far as differentiated learning, this storyboard approach allows for a personalized and customizable way of teaching and learning. So it allows students to go at their own pace and at their own time, and it lets them be as detailed as they want. So I'll go over again some of the different examples of how this can be used in practice. And finally, with student engagement, we hear from all the students that use it that it's really fun to use. So we get a lot of great feedback, and quite frankly, students pick it up a lot faster than the teachers or than we do sometimes. So these are some of the features that are included with Storyboard That, and these features all are for free, so that's always good. With teacher guides and articles, they're all Common Core aligned resources. So the teacher guides themselves cover a whole bunch of different subject areas. So for ELA, it covers different works of literature. For social studies, it covers different events in history. We recently added a special education teacher and a science teacher to work with us, and what they do is they'll create lesson plans in storyboard format that you can use as a launching point on how to integrate it into your class, and also go over those. The articles are more of a higher level concept, so it'll be things like the plot diagram here or a narrative arc. And the features that integrate with Storyboard that we have Photos for Class, which is a student-safe/friendly search feature that pulls from safe sources like the Library of Congress, Flickr, and from the Royal British Archives, and it's something that we constantly monitor to make sure it's student safe. Quick Rubric is what it sounds like, so it's a rubric creating software that's part of the assignments in Storyboard that. And as I previously mentioned, it's cross-platform friendly, so you can use it on anything with a browser, and there are many ways to present it. So getting more in depth with how to use it and best practices for using it. So we get a lot of questions on how to best use Storyboard that across these different subject areas. So with differentiated learning, we always suggest that templates are something that can be incorporated as a launching point. Lesson plans are really good for inspiration and references, and there are also story starters that we have as part of the teacher guides. So all it comes down to is scaffolding your lessons. So Storyboard that delivers the same material to students, and you can assess them in different ways and in regards to their different learning styles and abilities. So for instance, if you have your students create a plot diagram, you can have them create the 6-panel plot diagram, or you can have them create a simplified 3-panel plot diagram. So just an example. As far as student engagement, you really just let them run with it, and they are always very into creating content on the creator, and teachers that use Storyboard that find that they have a higher learning retention rate just from the visual association. So of course, because it's a creator, it's very hands-on learning. So again, students will figure out how to use the creator instantly and think of all these fun different ways to express themselves that we could never have thought of. And it really helps with presenting and sharing. So it puts students at a level playing field for people that are drawers and people that are non-drawers to express similar concepts. And the Storyboard creator, I'll actually go over right now. So I can go over that in the teacher dashboard, and I'll go over best practices for both. Logging might be good. I'm going to do that first. So I'm logging into my teacher account, and this is the dashboard. So this is where you're going to spend most of your organizational time. It's all the back-end stuff, so it's like your homepage. It's laid out pretty intuitively, so the sign-up info up here is how you would have students add themselves to your account. If you go down, you'll see all your classes listed, and if you go further down, you'll see your assignments listed. And then if you go further down, you'll see all the storyboards that your students have created, and then you'll see a featured activity, which is just, it rotates every time you sign in. Quick thing to mention right now, while we're here on this page, there is a chat option for our customer care. So if you have any questions, there will be live support during our office hours. So on the left-hand side, you'll spend most of your organization time in management configuration. So if you go to manage users, this is how you would add students to your account. So if your students do single sign-on with Google or Microsoft 365, they can just use this link. Or if they're over the age of 13, they can also use this link. So if you open it there, they'll just click I'm a new user, and they'll either log on through these single sign-on options, or they'll just create one separately and click register. And it should take them to a page that will ask for the school/teacher and the access key. And what's important to keep in mind here when you're adding students is that you use this specific link with Storyboard that/classroom. And if you have users under the age of 13, or if you would just prefer to add your own students, you can just quickly add the users here. So if you scroll down, you can see that I've created a bunch of these fake student accounts in my teacher account. So classes, similarly, if you go to manage classes, that's how you would add classes there. Pretty intuitive. You would add your class name, you would add your class password, and then students on their dashboard have the option of joining themselves, or you can go to the class that you just added and go to manage next to the class. And then if you just go down, you can see that there will be on the left the students that are in the class, and on the right students that haven't been added to the class. So you can select however many students you want, or whichever students you want, move them to the left and click Update Users. And that should update and they should be in the class. So moving on to assignments. Sorry. So moving on to assignments, if you go to Manage Assignments, you add assignments this way as well. So you would just add in an assignment name, and then to put it in a class, you would go to View/Manage next to that assignment. And then here you can select which of the classes you want it in, and you can have it in multiple classes if you have multiple periods of the same class, for instance. For security settings, you go to Manage Security, and we normally default to this, but I have it set differently because of FERPA and COPA laws. We have it set so it's very private, but if you want to change it so your students share it within their class, this is where you would change it to. If you go to Storyboard Creator Options, we get a lot of questions on how to enable different languages, so this is where you would enable the languages, so you can just click those there. And then to view your students' storyboards, you would go to Storyboard Explorer. So this is where you can view them by class, by assignment, by the student, or all of them at once. If you haven't taken a look at teacher guides and lesson plans, this is a good place to check them out. They're really good launching points. So let's just take a really quick scroll through here. So basically, these are some of the subject areas that we cover, and it's something that we continuously expand on. So for instance, these are the high school ELA teacher guides right now. So if I just go into Hamlet, for instance, you can see that you lay it out with storyboards at the beginning. And then if you go down, you'll have the lesson plan, and you can see how it aligns to Common Core standards. You can see how difficult it is, what grade level it's adjusted for, what kind of assignment it is, and if it's something that you want to use, you can just click copy assignment and it'll copy the entire thing. So here you can see a storyboard of the 5-act structure for Hamlet, for instance, and it's really good for differentiated learning. You can have it be as filled in or not filled in as you want it to be. So I'm going to go to the actual storyboard creator. So I'm going to go to create a storyboard. So this is what the creator looks like, and it's been updated very recently. So if you've seen it and it looks different, this is what it looks like now. All of the storyboard layout options are at the bottom, and all of the content is at the top. So with the storyboard layout, you can change things here. So if you want to add text that isn't a textable, for instance, you can change it so it's a title and description here. Update that. So now you can enter in text there. If you're, for instance, a film teacher, you can change it to 16 times 9. You can change it to a timeline if you're trying to teach a history class. For now, I'm just going to leave it a title and cell. You can add cells here, so you can add up to 100 rows and columns. If you need more, you can just keep going. And I'm just going to stick with the standard 3 cell. But basically, all of the scenes are organized here, and it's all drag and drop content. So I'm just going to drag and drop this scene down here. Going to drag this scene in here. And then you can see that you can change a whole bunch of different elements of the colors of the scene. So if I want to change the city accent, for instance, and then if you want to take it a step further, you can go into Edit Scene, and this brings up the Smart Scene option. So you can change the time of day. You can change it in this specific scene. You can get rid of the city. You can make the window see-through, and you can change the weather. So I'm going to click Update there. And then the neat thing for these scenes is that if it has a Windows option and you change it to transparent or see-through, you can actually put something else behind there. So if I want to put this bedroom in the window, I can drag and drop down here and it'll automatically populate. And a quick thing while I'm doing that is if you want to have it flipped, you can go to rotate and you can flip it horizontally. So now that looks like that. And characters, similarly, you would do the same thing. So I'm just going to drag and drop this character here. You can change the colors of the different features. And then if you go into edit pose here, if you scroll down, there's instant ones if you're in a hurry. So I can make her look sad that it's snowing. And if you have some more time, you can customize it further. So you can have her facing the side. You can have her tilting her head. You can change the poses and the expressions. I'm just going to update that. And a really quick thing that we often get asked is she's facing to the right. So to make her face to the left, you just go to the drop down and rotate and flip it horizontally. And for layering, if you want her to be inside this building, for instance, if you go to layers, you just click send backwards. And now she's inside. So if I want to put another person down here, this is actually my character. So I'm going to go into edit pose. I'm going to have facing sideways. I'm going to be disappointed that it's snowing in April, which is a real thing that's happened to us in Boston. I'm going to have her sitting. I'm going to click update. And a really quick best practice shortcut is if you want to resize it, you can of course drag these little arrows here. But if you want to have it more controlled, you can press Shift and the up arrow on your keyboard. If you want to make it smaller, you can press the Shift and down arrow. And if you want to rotate it, you can use the left and right arrows. And here, if we go into textables, pretty self-explanatory. It's speech bubbles, thought bubbles. There's some fun comic bubbles, some fancy artistic bubbles, and some signs. So in here, I'm just going to drag a little textable down here to my person. I'm just going to be unhappy that I don't have a coat. Be better at using this. And you can change things like the text style. So I'm just going to change it to that. You can change things like the color of the text bubble. And then for this scene, we're just going to make it so that there's someone in the foreground and the background. So if we go back to characters, I'm just going to drag this guy down here. So he's standing in front of the school doors. And if I make him smaller, just move him down there. If I want this person to be in the foreground and that person to be in the background, I'm just going to go into here and crop him. But I only want the head and the shoulders. So I'm going to click crop, and then I'm going to go into edit pose, and then I'm going to have him face backwards. Click update, and then I'm just going to make that bigger and move him into place. So now it looks like there's a person in the foreground and a person in the background. So that's just a quick thing about perspective. So another thing that you can do that isn't something that you necessarily would notice on your first time around is you can use different filters to focus on things. So I'm going to copy this cell and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm just going to have it so that it's focused in on the person inside. So the scene that's out here, I'm going to crop it so I only want to focus on the window areas. Gonna click crop, and then to make that full, I can go into the drop down for edit, and I can click stretch to fill, and then I'll do the same thing for this. Sorry. If I just crop this as well, so that it's just part of the scene. Click update, edit it, stretch to fill that. So now it looks like just a zoomed in of that. I'm going to get rid of my character. I'm going to get rid of this text here. I'm going to resize her so she's much bigger. crop out the part that's inside. And then I'm going to put her inside. So I'm going to do layers, I'm going to send to the back, and then I'm going to bring her forward, and then move her slightly. And then finally with filters, you can have it so that she's the only thing in focus. So with the scene, you just drop down, go to filters, go to soft focus. This is really good for films. And then if you want to find something that isn't in the creator, you can actually upload your own pictures here. So go to upload here. You can drag and drop things in, or you can just select them from your computer. So I'm just gonna put in this random image. Close that, and it'll be here. And you can drag and drop it in like a normal image in the storyboard creator. So finally, there's the photos for class feature. So again, it's a student safe search. If you search for anything in here, it'll pull from those multiple sources. And you can actually just keep going if you need more. And if I just pull this down into a scene, it'll automatically cite it down here, which is really important. And if this is something that you want as the full background, you just go into edit and you would click stretch to fill. And because it's behind everything, you would just bring it to the front. And if I get rid of that, you can see that the citation automatically removes itself as well. Shapes can be found up here. They're just shapes, pretty self-explanatory. Web and technology, there are social media symbols as well as wireframes, which are really good for cyber safety storyboards. And this is just a really quick overview. So if I click save from here, I can title it whatever I want. And then from this drop down, I can select which assignment I want it to be in. I'm going to click save. And so now you can see that it's saved onto the assignment. And a really quick thing, if this is something that you want your students to be able to edit on top of or have as a template, if you see up here it says it can only be viewed by you, you just have to go down here and click convert storyboard to a template. So now it says the template can be viewed by your entire group. So students can save their edits on top of this. And then under this storyboard, you can also see a few of the different sharing and presenting features. So you can export it as an image, you can export it to social media, you can export it as a PDF, and we often get asked about Google integration or Google Slides, so you can download it as a PowerPoint and upload it to Google Slides. You can also select to have the slideshow within the browser itself, so that's pretty convenient if you're just looking for a fast way of presenting. And you can also print. So these are just some different ways of printing the storyboard. So if I select for 2 on page, for instance, you can see that there's different ways to print it. And then one last thing is that you can view the save history on a storyboard. So if you want to view your students' progress on something, you can just click that. And since I haven't saved this more than once, I'm just going to go into this. And this is what it would look like. So this is a storyboard that I saved over a bunch of times. So it'll show you all the different revisions for that. And you can see how your students are progressing on a certain storyboard or assignment. And you can also see that it shows you the automatically saved versions. So one of the features that we recently added is the auto saves, which is pretty important. And then, so this is just a quote from one of the students that is a huge advocate for us. Her name is Celine, and she's one of Rochelle Potts' students. One of her storyboards is created down here. It's a Spanish board. And what this really says is that the best way to kind of see, if you haven't already, if this would be something your students would find engaging, is to just try the 14-day free trial and add your students to it. And most people are pleasantly surprised that their students are really into it. So that's kind of it from me. If you have any specific questions, if you want to type them in the chat, that would be great. And while you're doing that, I'll kind of go over a few of the questions that we got as part of the submission. So Google integration I already went over. The updates that we recently had, including autosave, we've updated the art for scenes and for characters. We've added the option to move cells and to copy cells. The creator looks different if you haven't seen it in a while, since that's been updated as well. And we keep adding to the teacher guides. So right now we're going to add a quick coupon that is a thank you for coming to our first ever webinar. Yeah, if you have any questions, now is the time to type them out to us. Hope this wasn't too awkward. So while I'm waiting for that, we can go take a look at the EdTech blog. So if we go here, just scroll to the bottom, you can see our many teacher guides. So if it's something that you want your students to be able to fill out, for instance, with ELA, I'm just going to go into here and you can kind of see that there are empty ones as well. So you can have graphic organizers that aren't filled in at all. So if you want your students to create that plot diagram I mentioned earlier, you can click on that and you can see that it'll give you an example of it, but it will also give you the empty templates if you want to use that as well. Pricing question. Okay, so if you go to, if you're not logged on, if you just go to the top for pricing, it's just based on the number of students and teachers that you plan on using it with. So this is the educational chart. So basically these are your options if it's just you that's planning on using a storyboard that account, and if it's more than one teacher, it would be down here, and you can apply that coupon that we added as well, so it will be less than that. And then if you just have some extra time, it's always fun to take a look at our resources. At Tech Blog, you can find it on our main page if you scroll down. It's a great way to see how other teachers are using it. So as far as using it for different grade levels, since I noticed that was mentioned, it's really, although there are, and it does seem like there are many options, the great thing about this is that students don't get lost in the weed of things just because it's so straightforward in creation, and it's not like we have 61 steps, for instance, to customize the creation of a character. Students at every grade level tend to pick it up really quickly. And again, fastest way to see if it'll be something that your students would be able to use is just check out that trial. All right, so we're here for about another minute. So if you have any questions. Great. Well, if no one has any other specific questions, you can always email any of us and follow up. And thanks for coming.
Hi, I see that there's a bunch of questions coming on. This is Kate. I just want to answer some of these questions for you all. The session is definitely going to be recorded. You're going to get an email from me with the file, and you can definitely share it and use it wherever you want. Are there other fonts that can be used besides the ones listed in the text? Well, the only fonts that are used are the ones that are in the text. The reason that we have specific fonts on there is because they're Google fonts, and they actually render better, and you can be able to download them into PowerPoint and other things. So that is the only one those are the ones we choose from right now. Let's see what else. I know that the elementary question, elementary school, it's really good to start your storyboards with either a template or maybe give them one cell done. They can kind of see how it works, and then they can go from there. Again, students jump in and they use it extremely without much problem at all. So they will really like it. What other questions we have here? If you have already purchased, please just contact us. You can contact me at kate@storyboardthat.com, and I'll take a look at your account and we can figure something out. As for the coupon, please use it. They'll be good for 2 weeks from today, so you'll be able to go in and use the 14-day free trial and be able to see if it's something that you want to bring to your classroom before you actually purchase. Anybody else have any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. We're here for as long as you need us. And again, thank you so much for showing up. We plan on doing this more often. We've actually had more people than we anticipated who wanted this, which is amazing. What we would love to hear from you, I'm going to send out a survey to you as well. Love to know other topics you want to hear about. So if it's something like I want to use Storyboard That for my special ed class, or I want to use Storyboard That for teaching social studies, or anything like that, we can do specific webinars based on your needs. So let me know what you think, and we'll schedule the next one as soon as we hear back from you guys. And again, thank you for coming. Feel free to reach out to us at hello@storyboardthat.com. If you feel as though you need a little bit more guidance, we also have free demos available for you to do that at any point. And we can, again, just email us at hello@storyboardthat.com. We'll send you the calendar, and you can choose whatever time works for you. Again, thank you so much, and we will hear back from all of you soon. And the recording will be sent to you within, I think, the next hour or so. So thank you again, and have a great day.